Now, Femi and his wife have two major problems, which were to convince Uduak that Femi was fit for the job since the government isn't showing interest anymore in buying the vaccine. Secondly, Inspector Joe found out his connection with Blade. They need to act fast now or lose everything. Inspector Joe knows that Blade could be capable of anything. He still needed more evidence about him. Akin doesn't think that either Cola or Femi may have anything to do with Blade, but Timehian because her habits got a better part of her. He found out from Akin that her whereabouts had been fabricated all these while. Meanwhile, Mr. Duru has been diagnosed with a stroke since his business went bankrupt after Adamola withdrew their support. Sarah got the chance to call her mother, and she felt pity for her child for not listening to her when she needed her the most. She told her to run and never look back. Sarah also called Kenny to talk to him. She dropped the call when Kemi came in to call her for dinner. Blade had the opportunity again to exploit Femi since he knew that the police were after them. He wanted more money to remain quiet or ruin Femi's ambitions. Akin met with Princess to hear what she had to say. The most demeaning thing about this is that Cola finds a way of silencing these ladies never to say it to anyone. He did this to her and forced her to sit still while he captured the moment in a drawing. Cola never knew his best friend did all these. Femi set out to meet with Blade to end this saga once and for all. To him, a mouth-watering offer will solve it. But to his wife, she has got other plans. He met with Blade and gave him the money. Femi somehow learnt from his wife of how not to be petty, but he didn't have the balls to pull the trigger. Olayinka followed her husband as the bodyguard came in to complete the job. This is the kind of steel Olayinka was made of. At least they have solved one problem. Kenny picked her location as he set out to look for her through the smartphone she used. I guess they never wished they picked that phone in the first place to have tracked them. Like I said earlier, geniuses are always patient in their quest to what's important to them. Uncle B has been patiently on the lookout for Kenny all this while. It was a wonderful evening well spent together when the lady said that she will be leaving because the room she was supposed to sleep in was where Kemi and Sarah were going to have. The doctor saw her off and gave her a lump sum of money. But why such an amount? After dinner, the doctor still insisted that Sarah had a drink and dance with him while Kemi was having her bath. As suspicious as it may seem from the onset, this guy is an organ harvester. He drugged Sarah and was about to operate on her, but he remembered Kemi was still out there. As funny as it may sound, these are the things people do in disguise to make a living. Somehow, the tracking helped save the ladies when Kenny arrived, but Kenny lost his life in the process, as his throat was slit. Fortunately, Kemi gained consciousness back. She and Sarah need to leave there quickly. She got Kenny's car key, and on her way she bumped into Uncle B, but he was unable to follow them as an Okada rider blocked him. The girls were lucky again, but Uncle B alerted the police officers. He already knew where the girls were heading to. Inspector Joe never relented. He found Timehian in the Christian rehab where she was kept to hear what she had to say about Blade and others. She thinks Blade killed Cola. She pleaded with Joe to help get her out of there. Joe promised to see what he can do, but she somehow wasn't assured of his words. Inspector Joe went straight to Blade's house, but on getting there, Blade was already dead. The same night, Joe went to Femi's house and insisted on seeing him. Femi came down and Joe didn't hesitate to put up the interrogations. Olayinka called his boss straight away, but Joe assured him that he will get to the root of it. Mr. Tihani cautioned his subordinate never to go close to the family any longer, and stated that Inspector Joe's job was to find the girls on the run. Joe got furious about everything and asked his boss how much he was being paid to sweep such a high-profile murder case under the carpet. Kemi couldn't continue again, and stopped somewhere until the next day after the excessive bleeding she got. Kemi explained everything that had happened, but she didn't tell Sarah that Kenny was dead. The journey had to continue. Kemi tried as much as possible to stay awake so she could direct Sarah, but she couldn't hold on any longer as the injury got worse. They managed to get to a nearby village so that Kemi could get proper treatment. But no one seems to be outside on this very day as the tradition of the land mandated it as a day for cleansing. Anyone caught will be killed, so nobody is expected to be seen outside. This time, it looked as if Kemi was dead as she lost so much blood. A woman finally opened and took them in. She brought some concoctions she applied to help stop the bleeding and relieve her pain. She told Sarah that they can pass the night here, but they must leave as early as possible the next day. While they were leaving the following day, Kemi told Sarah that Kenny was dead while trying to save them. Uncle B never stopped following them. He knew where the girls were, but he couldn't get the location correctly. While the girls were almost getting home, the village was still some kilometers ahead. It all depends on how fast they can drive to get there. On Akin's side, he still went back in search of Kola's paintings. Princess told him that Kola usually makes a drawing of all his victims. Suddenly, he found a door he had never seen while Kola was alive. It was his painting room. Princess was right about everything. Kemi was equally telling the truth about defending themselves. These ladies really were tortured in the hands of Kola. Akin called Joe to show him what he found. At least it is a good lead to vindicate the girls, but it seems Joe's hands are tied now, as he has been warned to stay clear from the family. There was nothing he could do again. Temehien knew Inspector Joe wasn't going to come to her aid as he promised. She was going to do it her own way. No matter how strong some men of God may look spiritually, they are most likely to be weak in the flesh. Temehien is way smarter than you can think of. The girls still didn't get home that day. They encountered a heavy checkpoint ahead. They were sure it was meant to find them, so they left the car and followed a bush path, but the bleeding started again as Kemi fell to the ground. Sarah left her there in search of help. Temehien knows how to put on big surprises. No one expected that she could escape from the rehab. This time she ripped the rug out from under Femi about how he wanted to kill Kola. Uduak was surprised on hearing this. Femi finally gave his mother a piece of his mind. Ever since the birth of Kola, he was loved unconditionally more than him and Temehien, as if that was not okay. Why his birthright as the first son was ripped off him and given to Kola. Uduak didn't care about what he had to say. She just couldn't contain it any longer. Kemi woke up in the hands of her grandmother. How Sarah got there was a miracle. At least she found peace again after all they passed through over the weeks. Sometimes I just wish Uncle B could let these girls be, but he wouldn't stop. Uncle B knows where the girls are now together with Tihani and his boys, and they are within a hair's breadth now. Only if the girls knew what was coming for them. Kemi, Sarah, and grandmother were together eating when the men came in. They should give up the chase now. The police have done their part. The Adamolas demands their pound of flesh. Now that the girls are in her custody, Uduak called Femi to meet her at the old warehouse. Temehien heard her conversation on the phone and would like to go with her. The Adamolas will finally have to get justice for Kola. But Temehien called Inspector Joe to tell him what was about to happen. He has to be there now. Uduak has a job for Femi. It's the only option he has to buy back her trust if he wants to take back his position as the head of the family. Then he must kill the people who killed his brother. This is what happens when the big dogs are in play against the poultry. At least they should be given a trial in the court of law, or the police should take charge. But here they will have it their own way. But Femi is at it again. No balls to pull the trigger. The girls tried to explain what really happened and who Kola truly was. Uduak knew all along about Kola's inhumane act, but she believed every woman was all here for the money, so they deserved the pain as well. Temehien decided that she will avenge her brother's death. Perhaps Uduak underestimated her, and she was right when she shot Uncle B. This is karma to the big dogs now. As surprising as it may sound, Temehien knew all the secrets. Uduak killed their father when he found out that she was cheating on him, and Kola wasn't his son. This was the reason why Temehien went into such an unusual lifestyle of drugs and alcohol until she was sent to rehab. Temehien was going to put an end to the family's madness. She ordered Olayinka to set free the girls, and while they ran for their lives, Joe arrived and offered to help them. He knows the truth now. Then they heard a gunshot. Temehien had killed her brother and wife. Uduak pleaded for mercy. But did Temehien really shoot her mother when she said it's done? Thanks for watching. Please comment your thoughts and also like and share this video for more super amazing videos that we are bringing to you. And if you're watching from our YouTube channel, you can also subscribe and turn on your notification for more. Thank you.